Hey guys, welcome back to my sewing room. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how I created this gown. It is really simple to make and it doesn't actually require a lot of fabric. So let's go ahead and get started. So I actually draped this dress. If you guys want to see a tutorial on how I flat patterned it, I could actually do a tutorial on that too. But I think that draping will probably be the easiest route to go about this. So like we always start with our draping, you want to have a squared off piece of muslin, and I am pinning it down the entire center front of my dress form. And I'm going to go ahead and smooth it out into the side, to the princess seam. Guys, how long has it been since I've done a draping tutorial? At least a couple of months, if I remember properly, or maybe even longer than that. I love draping. I've been so knee deep in making wedding dresses for my 2020 brides that I haven't had like a lot of time to actually drape, because for my clients I do flat pattern draft. So anyway, I am actually going to do an arm side princess seam here. So all I did was pin down my princess seam and then curve it to where my underarm kind of armpit area would be if the dress form was an actual person. And now I am going to go ahead and snip some of that off, and then I'm pinning my side panel in. I like to pin it at the side seam first, and then I'm going to connect it here at our apex point, aka nipple. I'm going to pin it there first, and then I'm going to pin it up and down that princess seam here. The reason why I chose to do an arm side princess seam is because it's going to be a spaghetti strap, and I don't want all that bulk where my spaghetti strap will be if we chose to do like a regular princess seam that was aimed towards the shoulder. And I also find that when you do an arm side princess seam, it shapes to the bust better. And I also have my little nippers here. I absolutely love them. And I'm snipping in to my center front panel to allow it to spread so that I can align my pieces better. And I'm going to trim off the excess. Super easy, guys. This is one of the basic princess seams that you could do. And I'm also trimming off the extra and snipping in to release that tension there at my waistline. And I just like to look around and make sure that it's nice and smooth, and then repin some areas if I need to. For sure, when we go ahead and cut into where our neckline will be, we're going to go ahead and have to do more smoothing. So here I'm figuring out, okay, how high do I want my princess, the area where the spaghetti strap attaches to. I'm trying to figure out how high I want that to be. And I believe this is about 5 inches above our apex line. And then I'm drawing a line from there, connecting it down to our waistline. This is going to be a really deep plunging V. And then I'm going to connect that. Oh, I'm so stuffy, y'all. Lord have mercy. I don't want to hear no freaking drama about how stuffy I am. I'm stuffy. It's okay. My life is affected by it. Okay. But anyway. And I drew a straight line across because I'm going to cut that, and that's going to be our mesh panel for where we're going to insert our illusion mesh at the front. This is actually, I had a subscriber send me an image, and she asked me if I can help her draft it. So I decided to go ahead and just make a full-blown video on it because I've actually had a lot of people send me that same dress. So now I am working on my back pieces, and I have another squared piece of muslin. And draping the back is actually going to be easier than draping the front because we don't have any seams back here. So I'm wrapping that around to the back to meet my center back seam. I'm trimming off the excess at the bottom and snipping in, stopping at the waistline, just like how we did the front, to ease that tension on this back piece. And then I'm going to repin my center back, making sure that this panel is nice and smooth. Next, I'm going to take a pin and I'm going to mark out all of my my side seam, my waistline, and the actual seam line, neckline of this. So I chose to do like a V in the back as well. So it's kind of angled down from the side seam to the center back. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut that out. You want to make sure that you're cutting this out because sometimes you'll end up with a little bit extra here, like how I'm showing you here. You'll have to pinch in a dark shape so you can eliminate that from when you're actually cutting your your piece out of fabric, but sometimes I just like to pull that extra dart shape into my side seam and then redraw my side seam. Sometimes that's easier for your brain to comprehend rather than eliminating a dart. So I'm just doing that, and I'm redrawing my side seam to true everything up, and we are done here with the back. Now I'm doing the same thing for the front, so I'm making sure to cut my neckline out so that I can see if I need to take any extra into my princess seam there. And 9 times out of 10, you will have to. When you eliminate fabric, there's always going to be excess fabric that you have to take in at some seam line or another. And case in point, in doing that, when I pinned that back down, I noticed that my V part of my neckline is a little bit loose. So I'm going to pinch in a dart shape there. And I'm just going to, when I transfer this over to paper, I'm going to leave it pinned so that I'm just pretty much ignoring this dart shape. Now, the next crucial thing is to make sure that you're marking notches. Notches save lives, okay? So I like to mark my bust line, and then I like to mark on the top of my princess seam and the bottom. If you have an illusion panel, you want to mark where that illusion panel meets your center front piece as well. So mark those notches. Now I'm draping my skirt. So this skirt is a little bit different than my usual princess seam skirt because this skirt, Lord have mercy, this skirt only has one princess seam. The other side is one whole piece. So I'm going to start at my right hand's, my right, if I was the actual dress form. I'm going to start there, and I'm going to pin down the princess seam the same way you would pin down a normal princess seam when you're draping. Use lots of pens if you need to, and make sure to mark out all of your seam lines on your muslin. So when you transfer over to paper, you're not like, what? You know what I mean? So now I have a larger piece of muslin here, and I'm going to tear it. I like to tear muslin because it tears in a straight line, like most, tightly woven fabrics. Now, well, not super tight, but you know what the hell I mean. I don't want nobody in the comments trying to criticize my technical terms. Okay, so now I am pinning down the side seam of my front, and I am going to start kind of pushing it over to the princess seam, like how you would if you were using a normal draping a normal princess seam, besides the fact that this is actually one whole piece. So I'm going to pin down my princess seam. Okay, so once I have that nice and smooth, like I said, use lots of pens if you need to. Sometimes you need to even snip up at the top to release some of that tension, since we actually don't have any seams and this fabric does not stretch. And once again, we're marking our seam lines here. So we're marking our waistline and our side seam. I don't really do any markings at the bottom because when I transfer everything over to paper, I measure evenly from the top down to the bottom to get an even length of dress, if that makes sense. You guys can watch some of my older videos on my draping to see what I mean when I transfer it over to paper, and make sure to mark some notches to help align that as well. So I've transferred everything over to paper, guys, and I actually have the dress finished. Obviously you've seen it in the front. I'm showing you here that I did a center front marking to kind of help myself. Y'all, notches and things like this will save your life. So these are all the supplies that I'm going to use to actually make this dress. I have all of my pattern pieces. I have an invisible zipper, some of this ribbon here. I like to use these for hanging loops. I'm going to get custom ones made eventually. Got my fabric scissors. I was going to use cups, but then I decided not to. And then I have here my sequin fabric and some spandex for the lining. So stay tuned for my next video when I show you guys how I actually put this dress together. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I appreciate you guys more than you know, and I'll see you in my next one.